I'll never forget the first time I cooked for my mother-in-law, Margaret. I had spent hours preparing a homemade dinner, hoping to impress her, to finally feel like I belonged in this family. But the moment she took a bite, her face twisted with disgust. "Is this all you can make?" she sneered. "Even a child could do better." I froze. My hands shook and my heart sank. I wanted to disappear. Can you believe this happened in my own home? That night, I promised myself I would never let her see me as weak again. Living with Margaret had always been complicated. My partner, Daniel, loved me, but he never stood up to his mother. She had a way of making me feel invisible, of turning every small mistake into a family drama. Cooking was supposed to be my strength, my way to connect, but with her, even a simple meal became a test I could never pass. Every family gathering was torture. She would laugh at my attempts to make traditional dishes, compare me to other women in the family, and constantly remind me that I wasn't up to their standard. I remember one Christmas dinner when she loudly whispered to her friends, "I don't even know why Daniel bothers with her cooking. He deserves better." My cheeks burned, and I could barely hold back tears. What would you do in my place? Despite the humiliation, I didn't give up. Cooking became my quiet rebellion. Every night, after Margaret went to bed, I experimented with recipes, studied culinary books, and even enrolled in online courses. I was determined to prove myself, but it felt like swimming against a storm. Every compliment from others felt like a small victory, yet Margaret always found a way to overshadow it. The worst part was the family gatherings. She made it clear I wasn't welcome to cook for big events. "Leave it to me," she'd say, patting Daniel's arm as if he agreed with her. But I kept my secret ambition close to my heart. I wasn't just cooking for survival, I was cooking for the day I could show her what I was truly capable of. And then came the breaking point. One evening, she casually told me, "You'll never run a real business. Stick to what you know, burning dinners at home." I stared at her, my stomach twisting. Her words stung, but a strange fire ignited inside me. I nodded politely, but inside, I whispered to myself, "Just wait. You'll see." Years passed. I kept cooking, building skills, and saving money in secret. I took small catering jobs, learned the ropes of the restaurant business, and slowly created something I could be proud of. Margaret never suspected a thing. She continued her condescending remarks, never imagining I was quietly building my future. Then, one day, I opened my own restaurant. It wasn't just any restaurant, it was a small, elegant place specializing in dishes I had perfected over the years. The first week, the place was buzzing. People loved the food. Reviews raved about the creativity and quality. I was living my dream. Margaret eventually heard about it. Her face turned pale when Daniel casually mentioned she opened her own restaurant downtown. I could see the disbelief and annoyance in her eyes. The next family gathering, she asked if I could bring some food. Daniel hesitated, but I agreed. When she tasted my dishes, her expression froze. For once, there were no cruel words, no mocking smile. Just shock. And then, slowly, she stammered, I didn't know you could cook like this." I smiled politely. "You never believed in me, Margaret. Funny how things turn out, isn't it?" I could see the regret, the envy, even a tiny hint of admiration. It wasn't about rubbing it in, it was about proving that her humiliation had fueled me. Her words had tried to break me, but instead, they built me into something stronger. Can you imagine spending years under someone's criticism and finally watching them realize you were unstoppable all along? That moment, watching her struggle to find the right words, was my quiet revenge. I didn't shout or argue. I let my success speak for itself. That night, as I closed the restaurant and locked the doors, I felt a satisfaction I had never felt before. The fire that Margaret tried to put out had become a light that shone far brighter than her mockery ever could. Life didn't magically become perfect, but something had shifted. Margaret never mocked me again, and I felt a sense of pride I had never allowed myself to enjoy before. People respected me, friends praised my food, and Daniel looked at me with admiration that went beyond words. I had proven not just to her, but to myself, that I was capable of achieving my dreams despite the negativity around me. Sometimes, I still reflect on those early days. I think about the pain, the humiliation, the nights spent doubting myself. And I wonder, what if I had given up? How different would my life be if I had let her words define me? It's a thought that keeps me humble but also reminds me how far I've come. Margaret eventually tried to compliment my cooking again, and this time, I accepted it with grace, but silently, I savored the fact that I had already won. The quiet, emotional karma of it all was far sweeter than any argument or confrontation could have been. I share this story not just because it's a tale of revenge, but because it's a story of resilience. If you've ever been belittled by someone close, let this be a reminder: their doubts don't define you. Your persistence, your hard work, and your quiet determination do. So, I continue to cook, to grow my business, and to live a life filled with fulfillment, knowing that sometimes, the sweetest revenge isn't shouting, it's living a life so full of success and happiness that your doubters have no choice but to witness it. Can you believe this happened? That someone who doubted me every step of the way would one day taste the very fruits of my perseverance? I hope sharing this story inspires anyone who feels underestimated or humiliated to keep pushing forward. Your moment will come, and when it does, it will be all the more satisfying.